Well, hi, Monique.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm fantastic.
It's been a little bit since we've been in the podcasting seat. I'm so happy to be here
Oh my
now
gosh, me
with
too.
you.
I know.
Just holding space together, talking about things that are important to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I shared with you a story recently about something that happened while I was on vacation.
Yes.
And I realized as I was just telling you the story, it would be a really perfect, poignant podcast topic.
Relatable.
And so today I'm going to share, and you also have some really recent life experience that goes along with this, but I'm going to talk about the concept of being here now. And for the next 30 to 40 minutes of us podcasting, we're going to really be here together.
Yes.
Sharing on being present and when you call attention to that need to be present, what can happen. So it's going to be a good one. Let's go. Welcome to Heart and Soul, the podcast where we empower and inspire women to lead their best lives, harnessing the power of their hearts and souls. We are Mariah
and Monique,
your hosts and guides on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
In each episode, we will dive deep into topics that matter most to you, from self-love and confidence to career development, relationships, and everything in between. We believe that every woman has a unique strength and inner wisdom waiting to be unleashed.
Join us as we cover insightful heart and soul-centered topics and interview incredible women who've overcome challenges, chased their dreams, and found their true purpose. Through all of this, you will discover practical tips, strategies, and real-life stories to help you navigate life's twists and turns.
For whatever season of life you're in, this podcast is your safe space to explore, learn, grow, and possibly even laugh and cry with us. So grab your headphones, maybe your favorite drink, and we'll embark on this transformative journey together.
With heart, I'm Mariah.
And with soul, I'm Monique.
Okay, so be here now.
Yes.
Is something that I said to myself when I was on vacation recently. I was in Belize, beautiful little country on the Caribbean. I had the opportunity to be out early morning on a paddleboard, which I always wanted to be a person who paddleboarded in the early morning in the Caribbean.
Not sleeping
and when I suddenly found myself in that position, I like couldn't even believe it. And I'm the kind of person that on vacation or really just in everyday life, like I just fill my life with so much action all the time.
Yes.
We were talking about this recently too. Like I'm always listening to something while I'm walking. Like there's always something going on.
Yes.
And so then I get on vacation and I don't necessarily have work to think about. Like I have only myself to think about, and my brain just like can't, like it just short circuits. So I'm out there on that paddleboard and I'm just like, oh, I got to do this. I got to see this. I got to look for this in the water. I was like literally short circuiting.
Yeah. Like almost
thinking,
hyperventilating.
Like, I might miss seeing a fish. Is that like, I'm just so wound up that I think I'm literally like creating ripples in the water with my paddleboard because I'm not just being still, right?
Yes.
So thankfully I stopped myself and I just said, just be here now. I just went to ground on it. Like, just stand still. Be present. See what happens. And I kid you not, seconds later, a freaking ray swims by. Just like
awesome. Rewarded.
And had I not had that moment with myself, I probably would have missed that creature. Because I would have been creating these ripples. I would have been too busy darting my eyes around, worrying about missing something. I was so focused on what would I be missing that I couldn't see what was right in front of me.
Right.
And in the ocean, in the sea, like there's so much in front of you. So when you're snorkeling or you're spending time on the paddleboard just watching through that clear water, oh my God, there's so much going on under there.
Yes.
It's the coolest thing. So it's really centering for me. I do find whenever I'm in that headspace, going to water is really helpful. So noted on where I need to vacation. But That was really powerful, and I'm glad that it happened early in my vacation because then for the rest of the week, I spent time in the mornings paddleboarding.
And it set the tone.
And it did, and I was
Yeah.
just like, don't go out there with the intention of having to do it all. Just go lay with your face in the water and see what happens. And then really cool stuff swam by. So
It's pretty awesome.
I just thought what else in life should be thought about that way. And I know it's not like I've invented this topic. This is an Eckhart Tolle topic, right? But
yes.
I just want to talk about it because where are you not being present and where do you need to just give yourself a little talking to and say, be here now?
So as I've gotten older, I understand this way deeper than I did before, because what is the one thing that we have a limited resource of? We're always chasing dollars, but really it's time.
Yes.
And the older you get, the more it like comes to roost, especially like given all of my struggles with my health recently, it really comes to roost, right? And you're just like, oh God, all I have is time. And in that time, am I future forecasting, AKA having anxiety about what's yet to come?
Yeah.
Am I lamenting about the past? Like, am I depressed because things didn't happen the way in my past that I thought? Or am I in the present moment, which is really all I have? Because
it's all anyone ever has, honestly.
Right. And so it has been a challenge, same as you, right? To be in the present moment, which is really all we have. So I think for me, what has gotten in the way, and I'm curious to hear what has gotten in the way for you, is worrying about projects, people, places, things in the future that have yet to happen. Or, like I said, lamenting or kind of like revisiting issues in the past that have yet to be resolved. That's kind of what keeps me personally from the present moment.
It's exactly, perfectly said. When you said future forecasting, aka anxiety, I thought that like totally resonated because just to use like such a concrete example or experience of there I am on that paddleboard and I'm like having anxiety about would I miss seeing these fish in the water or these rays? Am I going to miss it? Like I'm worrying about the weather. I'm worrying about everything. Well, I'm definitely not seeing anything in that state of mind. I'm creating an energy in my body that wouldn't see it if it had tried.
No kidding.
And then like the reward of acknowledging and addressing that is instant. And I don't think that that is just in that instance or for me. I see that all the time. It's not like you have to calm yourself down, be present and wait. It happens instantly.
It's pretty quick, isn't it?
The sign drives, like something drives by and gives you a sign like really quickly. And in that case, like just acknowledging it in that moment, boom, there we were. And now all of a sudden I'm like, yes, hold this present moment. Stay in this headspace. Like get joy, all the joy out of it that you can, because everything is fleeting and everything will change. And with that change comes the next present moment. Get the most out of that. But yeah, it's anxiety, it's future forecasting, it's worry
and
about
depression about the past potentially. Yes.
Yeah, it's anxiety about the future, depression about the past, something that you have control of neither.
Right. And
ultimately,
the past is already come and gone. Why are you even lamenting about it? If you feel like you made a mistake and hurt someone, rectify it or let it go. I mean, we could do a whole episode on letting go.
Yeah.
Like people just have a hard time letting go and moving on and change, right, in general. But with the future, I tend to be more anxious because I worry about the unknown. Maybe because of my upbringing, there was a lot of change that I had no control over. So it's a control mechanism for me, like a way for me to like try to stay safe or feel safe in an uncomfortable situation. But I wanted like to share a story about recently. We sort of like touched on it in the intro about I have been through this recently. So maybe people know, maybe people don't know. I had my second surgery of 2024.
Oh my gosh.
6 weeks ago tomorrow, I had knee surgery. I had torn my meniscus teaching yoga. And that had been like in February, and now we're late in the year. This is December now.
You've been on this injured knee
for a long
too
time.
long. Yep.
So it had a lot of damage and needed to be repaired extensively. And it was 6 weeks, no load bearing, no weight bearing on my knee. Now, in theory, you're thinking like, okay, I can do that. I can crutch around. First of all, crutches suck.
Oh my God. Nobody likes a crutch.
And also, it's now December and there's ice and snow where we live. And so it's really hard to go outside. So you're very housebound. And then also because it needs to heal, I was sitting in a recliner all the time. I didn't really realize how much of a doer I was, how much I just needed to go and move and constantly like do things. And so you're like, oh, I like to be busy. We both like to be busy. We both keep ourselves very busy because we have a lot of things in life we want to accomplish and a lot of things we like to do. And so we are blessed with good health and we can do that. Nothing though slams you down on the ground with yourself as not being able to do. Yeah. And so when I was sitting in a recliner for almost 6 weeks, not really able to get around, the first 2 weeks for sure, because it was very uncomfortable, I noticed myself struggle so much with, I can't.
You'd start down the path to like get out of your chair.
No.
Do it.
And luckily my schedule I didn't have a lot of clients I was seeing or a lot of work. And so there really wasn't much for me to do. And TV, while I like things, there's only so much TV you can really watch. For some reason, books for me right now are challenging. I was listening to books, but I could really only do media for a couple hours a day. And that leads like a lot of hours in the day.
Oh my goodness.
And when you're sitting with yourself and maybe you've been running by overdoing from things that are bothering you, they just come to roost. They're sitting there on your lap. They're looking at you in the face and you can't be like, I'm going to get up and do this to distract myself.
Right.
And so I was not being present because I was trying to get away from what was right here. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to deal with it. I thought I had dealt with things that were bothering me enough. And apparently I had not. So I was trying to future forecast, but I couldn't. I was trying to keep myself busy, but I couldn't. I was trying to watch media, but it was boring for me. I had to sit in it. And it was a powerful lesson in all what really life is about is just being, right? Like our worth shouldn't be tied up into, and we've done an episode on worth, into constantly doing and achieving and striving. But it made me really sit and look at that and be present because I didn't have a choice but to be present.
The physical situation required you to sit with yourself
and be present and look at the things I didn't want to look at. And then also once I started looking at them, then I started just like relaxing and being like, wow, I didn't realize how bad my anxiety was. And also, all I have is this moment. Why am I running from it in my mind? Mm. That's kind of a powerful lesson.
Yeah.
I know it seems simple, but it's a hard concept to get.
I mean, the simplest concepts are the hardest to accept and put in practice. And as humans, we just want to complicate everything we possibly can and create webs within ourselves that are just a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yes. So I found for me, and we talk about presence, you talk about it being, paddleboarding in the ocean, seeing the beautiful things around you. But what if you find yourself in a recliner?
Right.
And there's really
how do you see it then?
Nothing, right? What presence is there for you?
Yeah.
What is the gift of the moment then? So for me, it was the small things. People stopping by to talk.
Yeah.
People making me food.
Yep.
Visiting with my loved ones.
Basics.
Looking outside. Eating good food. Being able to not be in pain. Being able to relax in my body, even though I honestly always feel like I need to get up and go. Do you ever feel this way?
Oh my gosh. Literally last night, my daughter was like, Mom, sit down.
Yes.
I was wandering around the living room while they were all trying to watch something on TV, and I'm walking back and forth in front of the TV.
So you can relate.
Because I can't sit my ass down and just have a
Yes.
conversation, or because I'm so worried about picking up stuff and put in the dishwasher and fussing around.
Yes.
Just sit down.
Yes.
And I go, well, where's my coloring book? I want to sit and color. Mom, can you just not do anything for a second?
I feel like we're kindred spirits on this
I
journey.
was like, oh, that's a tough ask, right? But I did.
Good for you.
I did sit down. First, I got the coloring books. I set them beside me. But I sat down, and you know what happened next? Well, this is not surprising. 2 dogs crawled on my lap. And if there's anything that can ground me and have me just sit down and be present, it's those 2. And that, I mean, that's sort of the gift of animals, right? And where a lot of women end up kind of connecting with their pets, because it's like, that's the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs really know how to just sit here now.
Yeah.
Like they just.
Well, they only know the
that's
present
all they
moment,
know.
really. Right.
That's all they know.
Yeah.
So it's sort of something to learn from. But yes,
you can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was about like, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up. So after a couple of weeks, I started settling into, you're just going to sit here. And then what started happening was interesting for me was my mind wanted to get up and go.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I'd be in conversation and I'd be jumping. La, 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 jumping. It was like, then the energy, the anxiety transferred from my body into my mind.
Okay.
My mind in conversations, my mind was not sitting and allowing space for people to talk. I was like, I'm ready on the spot for the next question. I don't, I needed to keep the conversation going, like out of a sense of boredom.
Yep.
And then finally, I was like, when I had awareness that that's what my mind was doing, I was like, what if we just sat and totally put all of our focus and attention into that other person in that moment and didn't even have to have a rebuttal?
Sounds hard. And you did it? You successfully did it?
I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it was really, really helpful for me to have awareness around it, right?
Yep.
First of all, my body was constantly moving, couldn't move the body. Then I noticed the energy shifting to the mind. And I tried then to with curiosity, what if I tried it this way and I created more space and allowed the other person to share and made them feel safer and more comfortable without having to jump on a response right away to prove that I was engaged? What if engagement means just sitting and listening and making connection and contact? It's been a journey for me when we talk about presence and a recent one, like really, really a recent one. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, because I wasn't able to be on, trust me, I would have much rather been with you.
Yes.
Out there in the ocean. I wish that would have been the presence that I needed to be in that moment. But I had a deeper lesson to learn with presence. And there are ways in every stage and place of life where you can be present. Don't you think?
Well, I think in my case, a real shame is thinking back to previous vacations or time where I've worked really hard to be away, right? I've bent over backwards to create a situation whereby I could go on vacation, which in theory would mean relax or restore or any of these things, and then not do that, right?
Yes, we talked about this last year when we were in Barcelona.
Yes, I mean this is
you had this moment where it was go go go, and then you were on the beach and there was nothing to do,
like mental,
and it was almost like you break because you're like, like the body is just like, what are we doing? We can't handle this. You're not at the pace that you're normally at,
and to be able to have the awareness from this past experience to go, there are tools that you have that you can pull out, and they're simple as 3 little words. Be here now.
Do you think that's your most powerful tool, is like reminding yourself, saying it loud?
I literally just say it out loud. It knocks me right out of the spiral. Be here now. Training myself to say that to myself in those situations or in any situation where maybe there's a spiral, I think is a huge takeaway from this year. I wish that I'd had that in past instances because, again, like you work so hard.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then when you finally get a chance to let go, you can't.
And all your mind does is think about the things that you're trying to get away from.
Yeah. I know this is something every woman in my world deals with.
Yes.
Like, I know this is a resonant topic.
Yes.
Because we're all like tuned up to the max to create, the fantasy lands that is expected by Pinterest. And
I have a friend who says
Instagram.
that women make the magic. We're Disney, apparently.
Magic spinners. Yeah.
Right.
When it turns out the magic is literally just right in front of you. And I know so many people, especially where we live, like nature, right? Where do you go to find that peace, to find that presence? It's always, always is a strong term, but like it's nature. Yeah, that's where I was. I was in nature. It just happened for me. I resonate more with water than anything else. Part of what I like living by Lake Superior, but it just was such a good reminder. Like, but don't just go into nature and do. Just go sit
and be
and listen and use all of your senses to calm the mind and tune into what's happening around you. And then really cool stuff happens. Like really amazing things will swim by. And how you can program that into your life daily. What does that look like? To just stop.
Yeah. And for
Be
me,
present.
yes, that would have been my response previously. But for me now, it's really about trying to take this practice forward without needing a place thing. Right?
Yeah.
Because when you don't have the ability to go somewhere.
It's like next level.
Like, how do I just actually embody that within this body so that I don't have to take it out here? I can actually be that thing, be presence.
So I have a question. What role did meditation play for you throughout this experience? Because that's typically what I would think is the tool.
Yes.
That we'd say, like, well, meditate. That's, being in your present self and your mindfulness. Like, did you meditate? How did that, like, what role did that play?
Yeah. So finally, when my body calmed down and it was like accepting of the fact that we're not going anywhere. So, and then it kind of like flipped into the mind, and the mind was like chatter. I would self-soothe and like first of all, I try to distract it by talking to others, distract it with media, distract it with whatever. And when distracting wasn't working, because you can really only, in my mind, I get bored. And so I could only distract it so much. Then I had to sit with it. And if I wasn't able to calm that anxiety down because there was some underlying thing, I needed to meditate for clarity. So for me, meditation is a clarity practice. It does way more than just clarity, but now at the position I am in life, at the season I am in life, I think everyone meditates for different reasons. Mine is for clarity. I'm curious about something. I need to create a space for my mind to just mind dump, whatever the thing is. So I sit and meditate. And then afterwards, for whatever reason, when I meditate and then journal, the stuff, I almost swore.
Wouldn't be the first time.
That's right. I'm practicing. I'm trying to be better at that. It just comes out. And so then when I have clarity around it, the anxiety subsides and the presence just deepens, because I'm just like, the thing I was worried about or running from doesn't seem to exist. So yes, it played a big role, but not as big of a role as you would think. I didn't do it maybe per se every day. I would do it as a practice to help support finding out an inner inquiry, if you will. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about this from the listener's perspective, and I think we present two different takes on a same concept.
Absolutely.
And both of them are like an experience that each of us could have in the other
relatable
shoes,
for other
relatable.
people. Yeah.
And if I want to think about a takeaway for somebody listening to this episode, it's where are times in your life, or where can you bring awareness in the next 24 hours that you can recognize the spiral and say to yourself, be here now.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're stuck in a situation you can't get out of, or you're physically bound like you were,
Yes.
or
you can't do the things you want to do,
emotionally,
right,
or
right.
you're stuck. How can you use that be here now concept to move yourself through that energy and to move yourself into like a gratitude for what you do have? Right? Like, well, that was a place you were in, but your knee was fixed.
Right.
And soon you'd be walking and running, but you had to like get to that process through that to get to the place where you could realize like, I'm okay. Because right now I'm sitting here and I'm breathing and I'm alive.
I have food to eat. My bills are paid.
People love you.
People care for me. They come in to my house every day and they whatever.
Yep.
But it was a real letting go of what I thought things were, how I thought things were supposed to be, kind of like you. Your mind had to let go of all of this other chatter so that it could just be here now.
And see the beauty that was right before it, right in front of it. So whether you have small children and the insanity of their little minds and
little lives
running around, and like, how can you just stop yourself and sit and watch them? Sit and watch.
I was not good at that. I should have been better.
And enjoy that, because guess what? It will change tomorrow with what they're up to. So be
so fast.
Just recognize that creating that perfect life for them is so much less important than just being present in the life that's happening right in front of you. Or maybe you have elderly parents and you're really stressing or obsessing about their health or what they're doing with their life. This is one I know hits home for you. Just be with them.
Acceptance is a huge part of being here now.
Yeah.
Accepting all of the shit sandwich that's in front of you, that's behind you, that's just the shit sandwich, and not trying to fix it.
Just being with it.
Yes.
Being right in that place with them at that time.
And there I went swearing.
Maybe you're in a work situation where it's not ideal and you want change to happen. But in order to know what that change might be, you might just need to be here now. Like you might just need to be like present in the moment to figure out what's next instead of trying to work your way out of it.
Right.
Right? That whole concept you said, you're always trying to work your way out of what you didn't want to deal with.
Yes. Busy myself.
So you can see the beauty that is actually already around you or right before your eyes.
Right.
Or, I mean, there's just so many examples. Like I could just keep pulling them, right? But you're listening to this, where are you right now? What's happening before your eyes that you're missing entirely?
That is a really powerful question. And I don't think you're ever going to be able to answer it until you stop and be present. Right?
And say to yourself, be here now.
I love that, Mariah.
Pause on that and see what happens next. So that's our ask of our listeners today is whatever you're doing while you're listening to this, turn it off. Now that we're finishing our episode, turn it off.
She's giving you an order.
And be here now.
Take 5 minutes, right?
Take 5. The world can wait.
Yes. I love it.
Well, I've enjoyed having this chat with you today.
Same.
And always just holding the space and being here with you in the podcast studio.
I enjoy you so much and being with you.
Cheers, friends. You've just finished another episode of the Heart and Soul podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed the show, and if you've loved it, we would love if you'd leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening. You can find links to leave that review in the show notes, where you'll also find other resources that we reference on our show. And if you think a friend could find value in today's episode or any future episodes, please share this episode with them on social media. This is one of the only ways the podcast can organically grow, and we just can't wait to connect with you and all of your besties. You can also find Monique and I on our many social media platforms or our websites, and we're going to leave links to those in the show notes as well. Thank you for listening. We look forward to sharing our hearts and souls with you again next time. With Heart, I'm Mariah.
And with Soul, I'm Monique.